pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome to the November meeting of the Philipstown Town Board. Approval of minutes, monthly meeting, October 5th. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Committee reports. Conservation Board.
Conservation Board met on October 10th. Had 3 cases before. 321 Old Albany Post Road had been in front of the Conservation Board. The applicant is seeking a permit to use herbicides near a wetland buffer, and the permit was granted. That's been in front. A lot of questions were asked. The Conservation Board approved the permit. 168 South Mountain Pass. Applicant is seeking a single-family dwelling addition. That case was not there, so moved to the next docket. 20 South Mountain Pass. Applicants are seeking a permit for a residential addition near the wetlands buffers. The Conservation Board scheduled a site visit. 547 East Mountain Road South. Resident claimed that a neighbor had done some work in a wetland buffer, removing a lot of trees and shrubs, and left all of that material on their property. Conservation Board and Max had been aware of it, and so they are going to conduct another site visit and talk to the building department and code enforcement to determine the next steps. Next meeting of the Conservation Board will be Tuesday, November 14th at 7:30 here.
Thank you, Jason. Yeah. Recreation.
Good evening. I have a November report from Cecily Hall, the Director of Philipstown Recreation. The fall programming remains in full swing. Upcoming events for seniors include the Senior Luncheon on November 15th and the final day trip to Hunterdon Hills for a holiday show on November 20th. The Rec Center just completed its successful Trunk or Treat event in conjunction with our local emergency service organizations over Halloween, which I understand I've heard a lot of the community enjoyed it, so thank you. And upcoming events for children include the next teen night on Saturday, November 18th, and a winter youth theater production of Elf on December 16th, the weekend of December 16th. As far as the parks are concerned, Philipstown Park has full programming that continues over the next 2 weeks, and then the park will close for the season after Thanksgiving weekend. The parks have also been informed by the Highway Department that the digging of the water line is temporarily halted for now. They need to first determine where the electrical line sits across that south field. More will be forthcoming from Highway, Erickson, Con Ed, and Padawa Electric. An update will be forthcoming on that.
Central Hudson.
Yes, and Central Hudson. And Glassbury Park completed repairs to the dog park fences last week, and a tree fell down across the southern section, but that has been removed. On rec fees, there's an update. The Recreation Department has implemented the first phase of collecting outstanding fees from families, and there's already been positive responses. All families with outstanding balances have been informed that those fees are due no later than December 1st, and failure to bring their accounts up to date will result in restriction of their accounts, which ultimately impacts registering for upcoming activities. There's an opportunity to volunteer at the Senior Luncheon on Wednesday, November 15th at 12. I'll be there. And the next, it's next week, yes. And the next commission meeting is November 28th at 7:30 at the Recreation Department.
Thank you, Judy. Sorry for interrupting. Philipstown Hub.
Philipstown Hub Interim Director Chris Owens submitted a report and informs us that the hub has had 200 touch points during the month of October. There have been 960 touch points since the start of this fiscal year on July 1st. That's an average of 11 per workday. Phone calls have jumped by 79% between September and October, and emails have increased by 14%. The Board of Directors of the Hub met on October 11th. The next board meeting will be November 8th. And since the October 11th meeting, there's been the creation of an advisory board to serve as a resource and support group for the Hub's work. Anyone, individuals interested in becoming directors at a future point in time will be encouraged to consider participation on the advisory board. Programmatically, the Hub and Garrison Art Center have a relationship which can provide young people interested in visual arts with mentorship support. The Hub is planning to campaign to provide gas stations in the Philipstown area with Narcan strips and to increase the frequency of Narcan trainings in the area. And the Hub is also working on the Be a Friend project based in Cold Spring to assist schools and individuals with bullying behavior, which is unfortunately present in various Philipstown area schools. The Hub will be maintaining an information and support table in the court to facilitate access for individuals who need assistance. And the Hub is moving, organizationally planning its move to the new space on Route 9. More details will be shared at a future date. As the end of 2023 approaches, the Hub would like to encourage anyone to provide support to the program, either through your time or, of course, financial donations. And they will be circulating an appeal online soon, as well as their annual report will come out for 2022-2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you to the Hub. Planning Board.
Okay, I attended the planning board meeting October 19th. Pretty full agenda, old business. First thing on the agenda was Amanda Vista, 9 Cliffside Court, Garrison, New York. The board declared this as a minor project and referred to the County Board of Health, and it's going to require the board, the zoning board approval to get setback approvals. Next on the agenda was Highland Reserves. It was on there for many, many years now, as everyone's aware. The plan for the planning board was to accept and pass the final environmental impact statement. But before they did that, the applicant requested that side setbacks be set are at 15 feet. They're requesting to go to 10 feet. The planning board rejected that at that time, and they're not going to. They did accept the final environmental impact statement, but they're not going to change the setbacks at all. Okay. Okay. Garrison Golf Course in the Shakespeare Festival as well. The board will approve the following changes. There were some changes there, the final impact statement as well. They want to change the radius of the requirements for the water for testing from 1,500 to 2,000 radius around the wells. Right now it's 1,500 square feet. They want to move that to 2,000. And they also want more detail on how they're monitoring the noise, how that's going to be done. Also, during that meeting, I got up and asked them if they have any special tools they're going to be using to monitor this sound. And after the 5-year period, I was wondering if they could give those tools to us, because that's going to be our responsibility to monitor the noise. So they said they would look into that, could not answer that, because they don't have these tools themselves right now. They use a third party that comes in to do that as well. Next on the agenda was the RKB Materials up on 39 Horseman Trails Road. This is the second time they've been before the planning board. This is considered a major project. They're looking to build a 50 by 70 garage for overnight parking for 6 triaxle trucks. They submitted the board classified as a major project, declared the matter as unlisted seeker, referred to County Planning, Health, North Highlands Fire Department, and a site visit is scheduled for this Sunday at 9:30. New on the agenda was, I really can't pronounce this person's name, Krisky Plaza LLC, 3626 Route 9, Cold Spring. There's a lot of activity up there in this area the last few months. That's where Danes just got their all approvals. This is right just north of that. If anyone drive there, they can see that Danes has their building up for storage for the lumber right now. So this is just north of that. This is the first time in front of the planning board. What they're looking to do there is to construct a 9,500 square foot building. 3,600 feet of the building will be used for office space, and the remaining 900 square feet for warehousing storage use. The applicants propose to use the facility to house their existing fencing and oil company business associated with a 9,000 square foot outdoor storage area and 3 29,200 gallon storage tanks for oil. With a canopy over them as well for loading and unloading oil. The project was also proposed the construction of driveways, parking, landscaping, and stormwater management. The board declared this a major project. As you can understand, it is a major project. Declared the matter unlisted action, seeker action, and will determine whether a site, and they did determine to refer to the county planning, North Highlands Firehouse, and they're doing a site visit this coming Sunday at 10:30. Meeting was adjourned at 9:07. Thank you.
Zoning.
The meeting took place on October 2nd, and there was a public hearing. 55 Hiram in Cold Spring. The applicant was seeking a variance of a one-story garage addition. There was also 9 Old Albany Post Road in Garrison, and the applicant is seeking a variance for a side yard setback for a hot tub installation. And on 64 Lake Surprise in Cold Spring, the applicant is seeking a variance for renovation of a 2,100 square foot print building to create a 2,250 square foot accessory apartment. They have no new business as of yet, and their next meeting is on November 13th. So be here for zoning.
Highway.
A report submitted by Adam Hoteling, Superintendent of Highways. Work performed for Philipstown Highway Department in the month of October. Crews have been out this month repairing potholes, both blacktop and dirt roads. The use of the vac truck for the first half of this month was being used every day for cleaning out catch basins and so forth like that got clogged up during our last storm in July. We don't have this particular truck, so we leased it or rented it for a couple months, which kind of makes sense. It's a vehicle that we don't use every single day, so they rented this vehicle for 2 months, which I thought was a smart thing to do. The following roads have been resurfaced: Strout Brook Road between Gallows Hill and Schussler Lane, South Mountain Pass between 9D and Manitou Road, and Old Albany Post Road North Entrance. We've turned the preliminary 2024 budget to meet the town's board, which we met. We had a discussion last Wednesday evening, and we also discussed about paving some roads. I just want everyone to know, we're going to be paving some roads, but we're not paving every single dirt road. We're going to just look at paving the areas that are constantly washing out, steep slope areas like that. So I know there's a lot of concern when we bring this up, but we've had a good discussion last week with everybody down there. No one got out of line, which was good. Very happy to have that conversation with anybody. If you have driven by the Highway Department recently, you can see a beautiful new stone wall in the front of the building. The stonework was done by Chris Minardi and Martin Minardi Excavating. Phil, nice job there, Chris. It looked pretty nice to me, too. For the month of October, the Highway Department received approximately 40 calls and spent approximately $23,327,000 on vehicle maintenance. And the report submitted by Adam Hoteling.
Thank you. Building and land acquisition, I have nothing. Anybody? Anybody buy any property? No. Okay. Cemetery committee.
There's a gentleman by the name of Miles. He's new on this little committee that we have, and he's going to be walking that cemetery that's up at Route 9 and 301 that I've been talking about, and he's going to start kind of pulling back the cemetery that's up there, and we're going to start developing and honoring those who are buried there for a very long time ago. So.
Thank you.
Well, that's McKeel's Corner, I think.
Yes.
You consider that.
Our county legislator, would you like to make a presentation? Welcome. You're on.
So great to see this amazing group of public officials. It's a lovely place to be, and I'm really happy to be here. I just have to pause and because I was driving down here thinking about, I just attended a housing summit with Dana Levenberg, Assemblywoman Levenberg, at the Pace Land Use Law Center. And I was reminded down there of how far ahead of the game this town is in all land use. There was a lot of, it's been the same conversation for as long as I've been involved, for 15 years. And, the conversations around comprehensive plans, and we have Nat Prentice here, and zoning, and it's just really wonderful to know that we're so far ahead of the game. And that was a great informative summit to get ahead of the game on that too, because it is a crisis, and who knows what the governor will come up with next to, mandate that we do something. So come here with lots of love for you guys and what you do. On another note, the county did pass the $195 million spending plan for their 2024 budget. I voted against it. There are a number of reasons why. I put many things forward, one including pushed for a climate smart coordinator funding for that. I pushed for money for the hub, pushed for money for the village of Cold Spring for help with their garbage removal. You know, the county imposes lots of tourism on us with their advertising. And, you know, I saw some things that weren't right with raises. You know, once again, very high raises for upper management and, you know, where we have our regular county employees, you know, not getting what they deserve. You know, we have a district attorney's office who can't keep assistant DAs because we're competing with surrounding counties. So it's as if, you know, in those positions of elected officials and their appointed management, we're way past what other counties are doing. You know, we pay much more than other counties, but for the boots on the ground workers, like the health department, you know, they've been understaffed for 10 years, and basic, you know, county government, district attorney's office, you know, there was an ask for more funding for salaries for the DA's office, and that wasn't there. And they took out, unfortunately, the legislature took out the only hope we had at getting funding for any special projects, that $250,000 municipal grant opportunity, which you probably heard about.
Right, which was to be divided by
all the towns
in Putnam,
yeah,
and the 3 villages. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
doesn't leave a lot of money.
Well, it doesn't exist now because the legislature unfortunately took it out, along with the $250,000 for not-for-profits to apply. So,
we appreciate you advocating constantly.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. So.
Yeah, I had some words with, you know, my point is that I do vote with them 99% of the time with them. Right. They vote against me 99.9% of the time just because of politics. I can't, you know, the proposals I put forward were good for the entire county.
Right. And sensible proposals.
So I made that clear, and the raises were, you know, just not appropriate. Not the raises over the course of the year. They had people come in, and over the course of the year, we saw 22% raises for some individuals. So I voted it down. So any other questions about county government, always feel free to contact me. And, you know, it's all just one step at a time. I have to say that, believe it or not, I do make some progress there. When you see, like, you know, basic asking for resumes for people who are applying for county positions, you know, that's a new thing. We never did that before, but I insisted on that. You know.
How did you apply for a job before if you wouldn't submit a resume?
It's not jobs. It's appointed boards. Boards. You just put your name in.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you, Nancy.
Sure. Okay, thanks.
Any questions?
On the sales tax surplus of, I think it's over 80 million now, in Putnam.
The exact amount of sales tax surplus, is it 80 million for the year? I think we're at a $17 million surplus. I'll have to check, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I don't have that number.
It's just, how is that getting put into the, budget? I mean,
It's theirs.
They're just using it in the general fund?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That'd be nice to have. Kicking around.
Some of it.
Yes.
Just a little.
To offset.
Just a little bit.
What's the fund, Nancy, or what's the fund balance at now, and what's the conversation around, like, the fund balance and how much that has to be drawn down? I mean, how is it talked about in terms of?
I have to get the exact number for you. I'm guessing right now by saying it's a $54 million fund balance, and it's used to offset, you know, the budget. It's used to offset some capital projects instead of bonding right now, which is not a good time to go out to bond. So, I mean, that's a smart decision to use it for that, even though, I believe the fund balance is high when you think about what our local municipalities have to deal with in this budget season and the crisis you're finding and dealing with your budget. We could use a little support.
Shared growth would have made a huge difference.
It would have, you would have stayed within the cap if you got.
Yeah, would have been close.
For them to not recognize that and to say, well, your projects that are imposing that have to do with health and safety. Right. Water is a county responsibility. Right. Mental health, where you provide funding for the hub, because we don't have county services here, that's a county responsibility that you are footing the bill for because they can't step up. Yep. So they don't, I will continue to try to make them recognize that as diplomatically as I can, and we'll just keep plugging away.
Thank you.
Pulling back the curtain.
Thank you, Nan.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda. You're on, Tara.
First thing on the agenda is a resolution appointing Lauren Gretina to fill the vacant position on the Recreation Commission effective immediately.
Well, Lauren, thank you, and welcome aboard. What a resume. Oh my God, I read through your resume. I was like, my God. The resumes in this town, when we ask for volunteers to step up to these boards and they submit resumes, I look at these, they're like, my God, you could do anything. And you're volunteering for the town of Philipstown. So we really appreciate it. So thank you. It's a 12-year term. No, I think it's 7. Actually, I think it's a sentence. I think it's as Richard said, it's a sentence. So, but thank you so much. We appreciate it. So could I get a resolution to approve Lauren Gretina to fill the position on the Recreation Commission effective immediately?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Get to work. No.
Next is a resolution accepting the resignation of Town Justice Stephen Tomann effective December 31st, 2023.
So I was excited to read Steve's letter. Not excited. I mean, I hate to see Steve go. He's been such a force in this town for 27 years as a judge. Caring, stern, involved. I mean, if you look up in the dictionary, judge, there's a picture of Steve Tomann, I think. I mean, that's just him. But, so Steve's a man of few words. The letter says, please be advised that I'm going to retire from my position as Town Justice the last day of December. That was it. So that was the man of few words. He put it very, very bluntly. So thank you, Steve, for all of the years you've given to the town of Philipstown. You've served this community amazingly well. I appreciate it, and I wish you a happy retirement. So, yep. Can I get? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say we had a 25th anniversary celebration for him 2 years ago. And I don't even think he came to that.
I think he popped his
No, he didn't, actually. He didn't.
Anyway, I've known Steve for a long time too. He's a good guy. He's easy to get along with, stern like you say, but he's to the point. I got to say, which is nothing matter with that. So, wish Steve the best of luck as well. So, enjoy your retirement.
Anyone else? So, can I get a motion to accept Steve Tomann's resignation as Town Justice effective December 31st, 2023?
So move.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution adopting the Town of Philipstown Employee Handbook.
So this has been kicking around for several years, and we've had an opportunity. There was some last-minute changes. There is some changes that employees will notice in the book. So we are going to, if we adopt it tonight, we are going to print them, send them out to all the employees with the receipt that they received it, and return the receipt to us. So it's pretty well run, but there is some gray areas that, and we're addressing one of them this evening. So I'm happy that it's done. I appreciate the work that I know Amber was actively involved. Sue Kenny was heavily involved, and Melissa Knapp, our labor attorney really did a lot of it as well. So we met a week. Maureen
Allen now.
Allen, right. So we met, actually, I think she's staying at it.
Oh.
She's staying at it.
Okay, I didn't know
But
that.
we met last week with the group, and we changed a few things, and the edits are in there. So I appreciate all the work that went into it. So can I get a motion to adopt the employee handbook for the town of Philipstown?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution authorizing overtime compensation or compensatory leave to overtime exempt employees, and this is a roll call vote.
So this was something that was identified during the meeting. We have exempt employees and non-exempt employees, some that can get overtime and some that cannot. We have a few positions that I feel we ask people to do stuff outside of their normal job description, and one of them would be Cecily. If we open the shelter, she would come in and she wouldn't be compensated for it. Not that I think she would ask to be compensated, but I think we need to have the ability to pay these people if we ask them to do something above and beyond their normal role. So any of the overtime would have to be approved by the direct supervisor and then ultimately the supervisor or the town board. So this just enables us. We have a couple clerks that go beyond what they really need to do, which benefits the town. And I think I'm a firm believer, if you work an hour, you should be paid. They don't get overtime until over 40 hours, then it would be time and a half. But I certainly support the ability to be able to pay people when they work outside their job description. So
Just one question. I think before anyone does, they have to be approved ahead of time before they have to.
by
right?
their supervisor, and then it would go to the town supervisor.
John, I just have a question.
Sure.
I don't know if it would be in the handbook or if it would just be amongst us. Would we know who the exempt and non-exempt employees are? Like, would
We have a
Cecily
list.
be?
Yeah, we produced a list with Melissa.
Okay.
It's based by
So Cecily
labor
would
law.
be exempt.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. So the regular employees are eligible.
Right.
And the non-exempt would not be able to. So this will enable them to be paid over.
Are they listed in the handbook itself, or is it a
just
different
like another
document
document
altogether?
on
Right?
Each employee will be identified.
Right, exactly.
Whether they're
But
exempt.
it's not in the handbook, so that could be right, because someone could change.
No,
Right.
it is not. So I'll read the resolution. Whereas there are employees in the town that, due to the nature of their position, are exempt and are not eligible for overtime compensation or compensatory leave for hours worked in excess of 40 hours in a week. And whereas the town recognizes that there may be limited circumstances where the town may want to provide overtime compensation or compensatory leave to such employees. Now therefore be resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the town supervisor to provide overtime compensation or compensatory leave time to overtime exempt employees for hours worked in excess of 40 hours in a week in a limited circumstances, based on the need of the town and the work that is being performed. Any decision to provide such compensation or leave shall be not precedent setting. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Councilwoman Cotter. Councilman Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilman Angel.
Aye.
Councilwoman Farrell.
I vote aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you very much.
Next is to schedule any workshops or meetings.
They're scheduled. I said they're scheduled. They look scheduled.
Yeah. So
They look very
we
scheduled.
have next Wednesday on November 8th, we have the budget public hearings starting at 7:30. Then we have the final budget adoption meeting scheduled for November 15th at 7:30. We have our regular monthly meeting would be December 7th, and then we have to schedule a year-end meeting. My suggestion is the 13th or 20th of December, just based off of when we've done it the last few years.
Does anybody have a preference, the 13th or the 20th?
13.
Is that a Wednesday or a Thursday?
It's a Wednesday.
Wednesday, so, okay.
So 13th works better for you?
Yeah.
Judy?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And
Good?
the workshop that we were going to do at Ron Gaines, would that be the 15th?
Yes, he confirmed for the 15th.
Yeah.
Yes.
He'll be
Did he confirm? He
I
said he
think
was
so.
available.
Well, he
from-
asked me where the meeting was, so I took that
Okay,
as
so that's
confirmation.
So you're coming. Okay.
But I will confirm again.
And what day is that gonna be?
He's gonna come on the
15th.
15th, the night of the
We
budget.
have a meeting.
Oh, the
that
same night, okay.
Yeah.
Which
right.
is what?
The Garrison.
Where we stand with the Garrison Landing Water District, the plans, and, you know.
Ron is coming on November 15th to the budget.
So we're gonna pick December 13th for the year-end meeting.
Yes.
All right. Anything else?
Next is the Code Enforcement Monthly Report. This is for October. The total fees collected were $30,861.40. There were 30 total permits issued, 6 additions, alterations, or repairs to residential buildings, 24 all other permits, 31 certificates of occupancy were issued. There was 1 stop work order issued, 3 inspections of public assembly, and 1 inspection of a commercial occupancy. And the code enforcement officer just wants to remind everyone to take time to service your heating equipment and your chimney.
All right. Thank you, Greg. As always, wonderful job to the building department. Anything else from the board?
I just had one thing. I just
Sure.
wanted to say, since we last met, that there was a horrific terrorist attack on civilians in Israel. And I think since then, you know, there's a war now in the Middle East, and I just want to hope and pray for peace, because I think, you know, it's really a terrible situation, and I hope that we can take care of civilians who might be in harm's way, and pray for all those who've lost their lives in this war.
Thank you, Judy. Appreciate that. Anything else, Jason?
These are just kind of a couple quick updates. One is after the board passed that relationship with Jewel to look at solar, Martha and I had an initial meeting with them and are just supplying them some of the information around some of those properties we talked with, and then that process will be moved forward and they'll come in front of the board, they thought, in a few months after budget season and everything. The Philipstown Trails Committee is beginning to look into potential funding for the next phase of planning design. I was on a webinar today for New York State Department of Transportation funds. All of them require the town to be a sponsor. I wanted to see if anybody had any issue with that as we're looking into the idea of the town sponsoring or looking into these sorts of grants. And then one, I know, is this the right time to talk about it, Supervisor? We've had, I think you mentioned, talking about these different exemptions, the senior property tax exemption and the disabled property tax exemption, and whether or not Philipstown should raise its income eligibility to meet Putnam County and other towns.
I agree. Certainly, if that's the standard, that's, I was unaware of the number as low as it was, but the number that was quoted by the forum was not accurate. Brian, it's 37,000, and the county is at 50,000. So I would have no opposition to doing that. Brian has brought some great points up about alternative income that needs to be factored into these, because there's some scenarios where people shouldn't be getting it, but there's ones that really deserve the break. So I certainly would support you looking in if you want to start with the attorney, and we could get some.
Already looking into the firemen, so
Okay.
we can all roll it into one or just do one after another.
Okay.
Right.
So I'll reach out to Steve with just some of that information.
Yeah,
okay.
that's good. And obviously we should need to consult Brian too, and he's got some ideas from where he works full time, and I think it would help our situation. So.
Okay.
Anybody else?
No, I think it's something that's good value to look into that for sure.
Although you wouldn't be eligible.
No, that's all right. Well, if I retire, I might be.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
Thank
please,
you.
that would be very helpful. Thank you.
These are 2 of them you can't vote on. Oh, Bob, that wasn't right. Anything else from the board? No, we're good. Audience? Yes, ma'am. You could step up to the mic.
Constancia Dinky Romilly. Sorry, I've missed so many meetings. I spoke to Adam about the process for determining the paving of some of the dirt roads. And I believe what he told me was that the final decisions are made during the budgeting process.
Right, which we had Wednesday night, yes.
You already had that meeting.
We had that meeting last Wednesday. We still haven't approved what we're paving. We're waiting on a couple resolutions, but yes.
So if the public wants to, well, I guess if the public wanted to have an impact, they would have been at that meeting.
We had
I'm sure you had
several
plenty.
speakers.
Yes, I'm never here on a Wednesday, so I always miss those really fun meetings.
Sorry.
But once the information is out, once you've made the decision, and the budget has been made, that is at the end of it?
Yes.
In terms of public input?
No. There would be no more public input.
Yes, that is
That's
the
what I
end of
think
it,
that's
yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you. I
I'm sorry,
apologize.
yeah. Okay,
Right, that's
thank
correct.
you.
Thank you.
Dinky, just to remind you,
Yes.
Dinky, just to remind you, if you missed, there's a budget public hearing on the budget next Wednesday, November 8th, where there's more public comment and then followed by an adoption. Yeah, yeah.
I wish they were live streaming.
Well, we'll reschedule around you. No. Sorry.
Oh, the last one was taped.
Yes. Oh, yes, it was.
Last week's was on
It
YouTube.
is,
We
it
have
is
it.
The
videotaped.
video of both budget workshops are posted on our website.
Thank you. Anything else? Jess, come on up.
Good evening. Jesse Lubbers. Was at that fun budget meeting last week. Lots of road talk. I did a lot of road research myself. It was a lot of fun after that meeting. Oh, Jesse Lubbers. I'm in Continental Village. So at the budget meeting, I asked some questions about the Continental Village Advisory Board, or Continental Village Park budget, essentially, and leftover funds and what happens with that money. I did some more digging as well, and I think Jason was going to tell me some stuff.
Yep.
It seems like there is some sort of unexpended balance that gets forwarded to the next year and lowers the levy.
Correct.
All right, that's seemingly what happens.
Yep.
Numbers don't always match up, but it basically matches up. So the question
Well,
really...
the numbers do match up. Everything is audited by the state of New
All
York
right.
and internal auditors, so there's no gray area at all.
All right. So the big question, I have three questions here. Every year, there's certain promises made to use that budget, and then the things don't get done, and the money gets rolled to the next year. I'm sure some people appreciate getting back, the $50. I don't know what it is per resident at the end of it, but I wanted to see if there's any way. I've been going to the advisory board meetings, and this, Gorky over there is on the advisory board, of trying to encourage them to actually spend the budget and do the things that they've been promising every year. And one of those things I was going to ask is getting onto the board. It seems like I've asked to be on the board, and other people have asked to be on the board, and we can't get on the board. And it seems like you guys might be able to appoint people to the board.
Frankly, I don't know how the registry works. I mean, Steve, would you have any idea? This is the Continental Village Park District. Who allows them on and who?
It's the town board, it's a town-run district.
I think it's not a town-wide district. It's focused in Continental Village.
Yeah, so from what I understand, there's 10 seats, 5 are appointed by Philipstown.
I think that's right. I think in the code, the town of Philipstown appoints the advisory board members.
I have been here for 14 years. I don't think we've ever.
And no one's ever stepped up.
appointed-
There are certain people on the board that said they didn't get a letter, and I don't know if they have been getting letters, maybe since you've been here.
Well, we could research that for
How
sure.
many advisory board members are there currently? I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 10. So Gorky is one of the ones. Are you in Philipstown? How'd you get on the board? No, sorry.
So, just to clarify some of the expenditures, I spoke with Mike the other day, and he's been in working on the budget. They had $43,000 worth of damage at the park post the July 9th storm. I guess the tree went down. There was some major erosion. We took a tree down there the other day too, but I think that's our property and not the park district. And then we were also notified by Cortland. I'm attending a meeting on November 28th. There's $120,000 worth of repairs to do on the dam. I'm not sure what share of that is Philipstown's, but a portion of that is Philipstown. So there is some money going to be set aside for the dam repair in 2024.
So the number that I saw in the budget this year that has that unexpended budget, is there a way to keep that?
There's
And-
50,000
Yeah.
going into, to keep their levy down, yes, from the capital, from their reserve fund, there's 50,000. And there's more there, but like I said, there was 43,000 spent unexpectedly for repairs. I'm not sure Mike handled it, but we can, the best thing to do probably would be for us to sit with Mike and have a conversation, or I can attend a commission meeting in
Yeah, the next advisory board meeting is December 12th.
December 12th?
Yeah.
12/12. I mean, we could certainly go over that and figure out exactly. But just to be clear, their books are audited. The money that's assigned to the Continental Village Park District does not go anywhere else. It stays with the Continental Village Park District.
So there is also a fund besides the things that roll over to the next year.
Correct. Yes,
Interesting.
there is.
Yeah, because every year, as I said, they keep on saying there's things, and something else always comes up. But then I see money roll to the next year,
Right.
and it's like, well, why didn't we spend that money? Because there's every year basketball courts, little things like $5,000, $10,000, little things, and it's like, why don't we just get them done? Yeah, if you come to that meeting, that would be great, because the other last question I had was just about that playgrounds and about the plans for it. I asked for a copy of the plans that they acquired via bid, and they were unwilling to share them at the last meeting I was at. So I'm going to go to the next meeting and ask again. Maybe you'll be there and you can help me get them.
We'll make it a night.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
Where's that 50,000 on this?
Oh, sorry. It's in the other. Yes, Nat?
Wrap it up here now.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Nat Prentice, and I live in Garrison, and I just wanted to give you a little report on, don't want the comprehensive plan to get behind us. I think I got a good idea, but the first thing I want to do is give you a little report that this is you can't see it, but you've seen the list. This is a list of the things that we've been talking about over the course of the year, the 2023 top priority action items from the comprehensive plan. And the good news is that you've looked at all of them and you're acting on the ones that you think need to be acted on. There are a few that have achieved that status that we're calling parked or inactive. But all I really want to report was that we think it'd be a good idea just to have an appendix to the comprehensive plan that would at least keep track of the things that we brought up and a little bit of a status report. Are they active? Are they completed? Or are they parked?
We should schedule another update with the committee, usually come early in the year.
Be happy to come, but I overburden you all as it is.
No, we last year worked perfectly. We assigned you your own night, and we came in and we worked through
Good.
a number.
Well, so we have a little process. We're going to have a little process so that there'll be a record at least
Okay.
of the things that we talked about for last year. Then in the first quarter of the new year, we'll talk about some things that we might want to work on in the coming year.
Perfect.
But I want to congratulate you on taking that list
We
and
got
really
an eager group up here, ready to go.
That's right. And they go right on. One of the items on the list really did not, I think, is something that you all care about, but did not get a lot of attention because it's a great big subject. And Nancy's just been to a summit meeting about housing, and every once in a while we use the wrong term, like we use the word affordable or unaffordable, and that just confuses people. I have an idea. Unless anybody else in Philipstown's got their dibs on Greenway money, it's come to my attention that the Greenway would in fact consider a grant not just to update the comprehensive plan, which we were successful in achieving, but it appears to me as though that, or had some confirmation from the Greenway people that they have money for the implementation of action items on the comprehensive plan.
Go get it.
Well, and I had a thought, because I saw that they approved for the town of Pauling what did they call it? A housing strategy study.
Nice.
And it may be that this is an opportunity for somebody to come in and just help us get the issues that are all in our mind. You just sort of get a little arm around it.
A little boost, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess the question is, do you think that's a good idea? And I think you said it would be. It's their money, although we have to put it up.
Of course.
But we get it back.
Matching fund, right.
There may be as much as 15,000 in it that way.
Wonderful.
But I want to make sure that all of you think that bringing up the notion of a study of housing is a good thing to do.
I think, yeah.
I attended that housing summit as well, and there were towns that used different language too. They called it attainable housing, that of affordable. But, you know, as Nancy said, Philipstown has been on this issue, and with your help with the comprehensive plan, I think we've been focused on it, and we can start.
Yeah, and we just, I don't know, it strikes me as that it's, all it really is a matter of making sure that we're ready to do something if something comes up.
Yes.
And be responsive to a site that somebody, and invite somebody in rather than have somebody come to us with a plan. So, okay, I'll pursue, and we'll do something in the first quarter.
Thank you, Ned.
Thank you all for your willingness to keep this thing a living document rather than just letting it be someplace and getting a call from you, John, every once in a while that says, "Ned, does the comprehensive plan say anything about?"
I appreciate it. You do a great job.
All righty.
for us.
We'll
Thank you,
keep
sir.
working on it. Thank you all for your service.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, how you doing, Will?
Will Duncan, I'm with the Philipstown Little League. We put a park.
Still there?
Yeah. We put a field in at the rec center park,
Yes.
where the soccer fields are. The field we put in is getting washed out from the rains. So we want to see if we can get the highway department possibly to help kind of dig a trench to divert the water.
This is the new little softball field?
Yeah,
On to Town Park.
at the town park, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we can get Adam lined up to do something.
What's the status with the water line?
Well, you just said something about the electric,
Yeah,
how to
we
be
just
fine.
reported on that.
They went to dig the water line, and Adam located a transformer somewhere on the property, and they need to map out where that line goes before they start digging, because he's afraid he's gonna hit the electric line, so.
Yeah, maybe
Get that
if
done
he's
while they're
down there
there.
doing something, that's
Yeah.
maybe he
Oh,
can do it
it's
at the same time.
Yeah, it'd be a great use, yeah, sure.
Doesn't someone just have to call 811 to come down and get that?
Adam was
located?
I spoke to him last Saturday, I think, at the football game, and he said that they were
the
attempting
process.
to locate where the line was, but they were,
Talk to him,
sure.
just kind of map out.
I'll let him know you're gonna call him.
All right.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Will.
Anything else? No? Going once? Okay. Vacancies, none. Approval of vouchers, general.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? And I vote aye. Highway. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Continental Village Park District.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Continental Village Water District.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you all.
Second.
Thank you.